Welcome to the new release spotlight for the week of May 30th, 2023. My name is Lee Colazzo, also known as Mrs. Reader Pants, and the new release spotlight is something I have put on my blog for a long time, since 2016, every Tuesday. But this video series is new. I've only been doing this for a few weeks, and so far so good. All of my new release spotlights for the week are available on my blog at readerpants.net. The video is a spotlight of the spotlight, where I take my favorite titles and expand on them and talk a little bit more about them. So today we have young adult, middle grade, and picture book titles. To me, the middle grade looks strongest this week, but being the end of May, this is kind of a smaller spotlight anyway. This whole week, it's always like that at the end of May. We have titles this week taking us all over the world. We have two titles that are from Canada. We have one from Trinidad and Tobago, one that is set in France and Italy, and one that is set in Puerto Rico, and then we have one set in the Koreas. Some of those are on this video spotlight, but some of them you'll have to go to my blog to see, because I didn't do them in the spotlight of the spotlight, but they're all there on my blog at readerpants.net. So let's get started. We're going to start with young adult titles. All right, starting off with young adult today, I have two young adult titles for you. On my blog, there are 5 young adult titles spotlighted this week, so you can see more there. Please keep in mind that all the books that I spotlight, whether they're on my blog or here in the video, all of them have received at least 2 positive professional reviews, and those are on Tidal Wave. So if you are a librarian who cannot purchase books that don't have positive professional reviews for the grade level, please know that all of the books that I spotlight and have always spotlighted are 2 positive professional reviews, many of which are starred. Starred reviews will get preference. Also, when I say a grade range, that is a range that the professional reviewers have recommended. So if a professional reviewer recommends grade 9 through 12 and another one recommends grades 8 through 12, then the range will be 8 through 12. Okay, so we're going to get started on young adult. Our first young adult title this week is When the Vibe is Right. This is a romance set in Trinidad, and it is by the author of Where the Rhythm Takes You from 2021. This is about a narrator who is female, and she is a high school senior, and she lost both of her parents the previous year in an accident. I've seen kind of a theme going lately with parents being lost in a car accident. This is the 3rd week in a row with a book like that. This is an enemies to lovers story. This is about the girl in the story. Her uncle is a renowned costume designer, and she has like this rival at school who she really doesn't like. He's a social media influencer, and he's just annoying. But she has to team up with him in order to revive her uncle's costume design company. So this is Publishers Weekly and Kirkus starred and is recommended for grades 8 and up. Our next YA book is Her Good Side. This stars a African-American female who is overweight, and she has just been a very late bloomer and has not really had a lot of dating experience. She does have a date lined up for homecoming, but that falls through, and she ends up arranging to go with her best friend's boyfriend. But just before homecoming, the best friend and her boyfriend break up as well. So now she's going with the boyfriend, and he's not tied to anyone anymore. I like this book because it has strong, healthy relationships and support systems for the teens. I feel like a lot of books, the parents seem to be falling down on the job. So this one is not one of those. This is a romance, and it is recommended for grades 8 and up. It does have alternating viewpoints between the boy and the girl, and this is also booklist starred. Okay, we're moving on to the middle grade section of the spotlight. This is the strongest group to me this week. We have 4 titles featured on the blog post version of the new release spotlight, but for this video, 3 of those 4 made it to the best of the week. So here we go with middle grades. Our first middle grade title this week is going to be really popular with students who love books like Awkward and Click by Kayla Miller. This is Tegan and Sarah Junior High. Now, before I start, maybe you've heard of Tegan and Sarah. They are a Canadian indie pop group, but for me, they were brand new. They're actually twin sisters. And so this is a semi-autobiographical story about Tegan. It's still fiction, but about them in middle school. And so this is a graphic novel that's realistic fiction. It is school library journal starred and recommended for grades 5 through 8. I think this will be really easy to book talk if your students know who Tegan and Sarah is, definitely. But even if they don't know the group, just the illustration style in this, it looks very much like Awkward to me, which was super popular in like every library I've been in. So yeah. Okay, this next one I'm really excited about. I know I'll be reading this book. I just finished a book called Pachinko by Minjin Lee, which is a family saga about Korea and the Japanese occupation of Korea, and then Koreans living in Japan. So this is a very interesting topic to me. This is set, it alternates timelines between 1945 and 1952. So if you don't know anything about Japanese occupation of Korea, at the end of World War II, Japan, they had colonies in Korea and in China, and those were decimated with treaties after the war. So that is where the U.S. took control. Like they didn't know who was going to control the Koreas. So U.S. Took South Korea. They divided it. It was only meant to be temporary. But the U.S. took South Korea and Soviet Union took North Korea. And that is why North Korea and South Korea are so different today. So this is alternating timelines between 1945 and 1952, which is around the Korean War was full on in 1952. So this is about a young man. He starts out, he's age 12, and then so at the beginning, and then he goes back and forth. He's 16 and he's been captured. The tunnel that is referred to in the title is, of course, the tunnel between the two Koreas. This got 3-star reviews and is recommended for grades 4 through 8. Okay, this next one is another one I'm very excited about. I was reading this summary and even then just from the summary getting angry with this father. This is The First Magnificent Summer. This stars a 12-year-old female protagonist who has been estranged from her father for 2 years because 2 years ago it was discovered that he was hiding a second family. So strike one right there. So she's excited because he is going to pick her up in Texas and they are going to do a road trip over the summer to Ohio. She's really excited about it and she's excited to see her dad again. However, he does not tell her. He ends up showing up with the extra family with him. So he's the second family. So he's got his wife and his kids who are boys. So now she has to deal with all that. I really love that this is not a story where the girl is just jealous and she learns to love the new family. And she learns to love her dad. It's really not like that. He's actually quite a jerk. He's got lots of strikes against him. He body shames her. He prefers the boys over her. It's very clear. Lots of incidences where he is literally favoring the boys. This poor girl has to deal with her first menstrual period on this trip, all on her own. So that is just horrible, horrible person. He also makes her sleep in a tent while the rest of the family is sleeping in an RV. Just really not a nice person. And this poor 12-year-old girl is stuck with all this on this family road trip. So I'm very excited to read this book. It sounds really good. It would be very easy to book talk. Just my anger with the dad alone really fuels me up for this book talk. This does not have starred reviews, but it is by the author of The Colors of the Rain, which was like a popular book in 2019, and it is recommended for grades 4 through 8. Okay, and now we're on to picture book titles. I have 5 picture books highlighted in the spotlight on my blog, but I have chosen 2 of them to talk about here in this video today. Remember that picture books are rated generally for grades pre-K through 5, but some of them will work for older students depending on the concept you are teaching. Okay, our first picture book today will certainly work for older students as well. This is Hello, Mr. Blue, and this actually caused the song Mr. Blue Sky to be in my head for like all day yesterday. So, and now I'm going to have it in my head again, I think. This is about a little girl who spends the day with her grandfather. They go and have like to a coffee shop, and they go to a park, and they meet her grandfather's longtime friend, who is Mr. Blue. And Mr. Blue is a musician, just like her grandfather is, but he is also homeless. And the little girl has a lot of questions about that. And like, is he cold? Is he hungry? Is he scared? And so this is a really good one to teach the concepts of empathy with younger students, particularly for the homeless population. And I think actually for older students as well. They need that empathy. Also, you could pair this with another book, Fly Away Home by Eve Bunting, or there's other homeless books as well. But it's a good topic to talk about. And I think particularly with older students, this can be a springboard to a discussion and maybe some research on homelessness. It's a really, really, really big problem, not just in the US, but around the world. This is BCCB and Kirkus starred and is recommended for grades preschool through 3, but I think there's applications for this one with older students as well. My last title this week is Mother of Sharks. How gorgeous is this cover? It just really got my attention. And then, of course, the fact that it's about sharks. I love anything to do with sharks and marine biology. So this is about a young girl who lives in Puerto Rico, and she is at the beach, and her mother wants her to come on, let's go. And she's just really like 5 more minutes. She's really especially enjoying the tide pools at the beach, and she meets a crab who takes her on a fantasy adventure under the sea. This is by a real life Latina marine biologist, and the little girl in the story also grows up to be a marine biologist. So anyway, it's recommended for grades K through 3, and great because we have World Oceans Day coming up on June 8th. So this would be, if you can get your hands on it before June 8th, this would be a great title to read for World Oceans Day. There's a conservation element in here as well. And I mean, that cover is so, so, so pretty. I love it. Okay, that brings us to the end of our new release spotlight for the week of May 30th, 2023. Remember that you can find the entire new release spotlight, which includes more titles than I have talked about in this video, on my blog at www.readerpants.net. Just at the top, click on books and then go to new release spotlights, and you can see my spotlights going back for over a year. I usually try to delete them after about a year because they take up a lot of space over time on my blog. But I have actually done the spotlight since 2016. So it's been around a very, very long time. Also, there is on that spotlight, you can download a presentation of all of the spotlight books. It's totally free. It's in Google Slides, and you'll see it on the blog post, which I'll also link down below in the comment in the description. So you can go and download that and then play that on a scroll. I have instructions in the presentation on how to scroll it in the library. You can edit it as you want to. If you're just an elementary librarian and you don't want the YA titles in there or whatever, you can delete those. You can change things around. Whatever you want to do is just fine. So go download that and show that to your students. They will definitely be asking you for some new titles, and it's a great way to gauge their interest in titles that you're thinking about purchasing. The new release spotlight is published every Tuesday, so take a minute to like and subscribe and go onto my blog and check that out. I'm very regular about it, and the videos are new, but I've been doing pretty well so far. This is the 5th week in a row. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.